Good day to all of you. Once again, this is your teacher Daniel, and today, ang pag-aaralan naman po natin is on how to graph linear equations in two variables given, let's say, any 2 points, x and y intercept, or a slope and a point on the line. So, bali, ang mas popokusan po natin ngayon is kung paano mag-graph whenever we are equipped with linear equations. So first, we are going to graph linear equation using at least 2 points. So paano po ginagawa yun? Let us try to recall our previous example, our egg problem, or yung problem natin about dun sa nung nagbebenta ng itlog, nag-wholesale ng itlog. So if you could notice the graph. Ito po yung graph ito po yung graph na nabuo natin by using this equation. Y is equivalent to 5x plus 150. By the way, yung notation na y, pwede rin po natin yung palitan ng f of x. Ang nakadesenyo po nung ganitong notation si Leonard Euler. The conventional notation fx was contributed by Leonard Euler of Switzerland at nabuhay siya noong 1707 and 1783. Isa po siyang napakatanyag na mathematician. So, paano ba ginagamit yung notation ni Leonard Euler? Basta lagi nyo lang pong tandaan na yung y is also equivalent to fx. Pareho lang po yung gamit nila. Ang pinagkaiba lang kasi yung nasa loob ng parenthesis, yung x, pwede natin siyang palitan ng value ni x. That tells us what will be the value of x. Pero equivalent siya sa conventional notation siya para sa y. Meaning, this fx here pertains to this function 5x plus 150. So let's say the value of x is 0 or the value of x is 50. So whenever you're given these coordinates, we could actually solve muna. Let us solve first the function and then let us determine the coordinate. Tapos pwede na tayo mag-graph. Alam nyo naman sa graphing, diba? Sa graphing po, whenever you are graphing lines, ang kailangan lang naman natin at least 2 points, hindi po ba? Whenever you have 2 points na, just connect those points, meron ka ng graph. Meron ka ng linear graph. Okay, so let us try to solve this. If the function has a value of 0 or f of 0, that is also the same as 5 times 0 plus 150. Solving this further, you have 5 times 0 is 0. What is left is 150. So therefore, f of 0 is 150. So ibig sabihin, value ni x is 0 and the value of the function is 150. Or the value of 0 is x, the value of y is 150. That pertains to the y-intercept, hindi po ba? Now, you have this conventional notation na ginagamit ni Leonard Euler. Let us solve for the second value of x. If you have f of 50, so that is the same as 5 times 50 plus 150. 5 times 5 is 25, isang 0 to 50. That is 250 plus 150. That is equivalent to 300. I think that is 400. Okay. So f of 50 is equivalent to 400. Now, using these 2 points, the value of x and the value of y, the value of x here and the value of y, using those coordinates, we can now immediately present the graph. So ito po yun, ito po yun. Palitan natin yung kulay natin, ha. So ito po yun. Ito plotting this point, and then connecting those points, you now have the graph of this linear equation. Y is equivalent to 5x plus 150. Pwede rin natin siya isulat in another way. We could also write it as the function of x is equivalent to 5x plus 150. Ito po yun. So therefore, this line here pertains to the f of x is equivalent to 5x plus 150. Okay, so ayan po yung graph natin. Let us try to have other examples. So let's say we want to graph f of x is equivalent to 2x plus 1, or the function of x is equivalent to 2x plus 1. So ang gagawin natin, we're going to solve this what is this? We are going to solve this function, and we will let a particular value for x. Ang kagandahan nito kasi mas marami kang point sa graph, mas nagiging accurate yung linear graph natin. Kung halimbawa hindi ka pa kontento sa 2 point, gawin mo pang 3. Kung hindi ka pa kontento sa 3, gawin mo pang 4. Kasi mas marami kang point, mas tama yung graph mo, o mas kung mano-mano kang nag-graph, mas nagiging mas maganda yung pag-graph mo, mas naging accurate siya. And then all you have to do now is to connect all those points whenever you solve for the function of x. Now, pero pagka meron ka lang 2 point, okay na yun. All you have to do is to connect those points. Kasi ang line naman is composed of at least 2 points, di po ba? So, let us, ang gagawin po natin, mag-a-assume tayo ng value ni x. We're going to assume a value for x. The kind of x that we are going to assume, yung sakop lang ng ating graph. Wag tayong mag-a-assume ng x na labas dun sa, let's say, labas dun sa graphing paper natin. Wag naman po. Kung ano lang yung kaya ng graph natin. So, dito, for the value of x, pwede tayong maglagay up to 5 ata, ganun. Or 6, 7, 8. Basta nandun lang. O kaya, negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. Pero, so, para mas maganda yung graph natin, let us have these values of x. Ito. Yung mga values niyan, tama na yan. From negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, mga ganong values. Yung sakop lang ng graph natin. So, subukan natin. Ano po? Let's say, the value of x is negative 3, or f of negative 3. So, whenever we solve for the value of x, which is negative 3, for that function, so you have 2 times negative 3 is negative 6, plus 1, that will be negative 6 plus 1, that will be negative 5. Ano po? So, for this solution, you have this point. Etong point na to. Now, syempre, hindi naman tayo makakapag-graph kung isa lang yung point natin. So, dadagdagan pa natin ng isa, no? Let's say, the function of x, or the value of x, the value of x is negative 2. So, the f of negative 2 will be 2 times negative 2 plus 1. So, negative 2 times 2 is negative 4. Plus 1, that will be negative 3. Okay. So, if x is, ito klaruhin ko lang, ito yung value ni x, ito yung value ni x, tas ito yung magiging, nandito yung magiging result ni y, papunta ron. So, ang nangyari sa atin kanina, we solve for the value of the function whenever the value of x is negative 3. This is negative 5. So the coordinate will be, this coordinate here pertains to negative 3, negative 5. Yan. Sige. Now, here, negative 4 plus 1, negative 3. So, we have here negative 3. So, the coordinate here will be negative 2 and negative 3. Now, pagka hindi ka pa kontento sa dalawa, kasi kung may dalawang points ka na, all you have to do is to connect those points, diba? Tapos meron ka ng linear graph. Kung hindi ka pa rin talaga kontento doon sa dalawang point at mas gusto mo yung graph mo, mas maganda yung mas maganda yung guhit. Meaning eksaktong-eksakto talaga. So magdadagdag tayo ng mga magdadagdag tayo ng value ni x para mas ma-connect natin na mas mabuti yung line. So in this case, we will try negative 1. If the value of x is negative 1, what will be the value of y, or what will be the value of the function? So 2 times negative 1 is negative 2 plus 1. Negative 2 plus 1 is negative 1. So here, negative 1, negative 1. The coordinate of this point is negative 1, negative 1. Pwede pa tayong magdagdag para, kaya kung mapapansin nyo, pag mas marami tayong point, mas maganda yung line natin. So we'll assume another value of x for the function. Let's say f of 0. So if the value of x is 0, 2 times 0 is 0, plus 1 is 1. So the value here of the function is 1. So parang siya, no? Parang siya yung y-intercept natin whenever the value of x is 0. Ayan. So siya nga yung ating y-intercept, wherein the line passes through that, where the line passes through the y-axis. So the coordinate of this point is 0 and 1. Now, dagdag pa tayo. Let's say the value of x is 1 naman. 2 times 1 is 2 plus 1, that will be 3. So if the value of x is 1, the value of y is 3. So the coordinate will be 1 and 3. Ganun po. Okay, last 2. Okay, let's say we have a value of, last one na lang ata to. So subukan natin. Let's say the value of x is 2 naman. So f of 2 will be equivalent to 2 times 2 plus 1. 2 times 2 is 4 plus 1, that will be 5. Okay, so the coordinate will be 2 and 5. Yan. So sa tingin ko marami na tayong points, Marami na tayong points. Ang gagawin na lang natin, i-connect na lang po natin sila. Mas maganda kasi pag maraming points, pero ang minimum 2 points. Ayan. So you now have the graph for y is equivalent to 2x plus 1. Now, let us try one more example. Let's say the function, or f of x, or the function of x, is equivalent to negative 1 half x plus 1. Paalala ko lang po dun sa mga naaasiwang gumamit ng f of x, Pwede naman kayo gumamit ng y. Anyway, y is just equivalent to f of x. Yan, pareho lang naman po yan. So kung nahihirapan kayong gumamit ng f of x, ang gamitin nyo na lang yung y. So that is equivalent to, y is equivalent to negative 1 half x plus 1. Ayan. So mas yung iba kasi mas maaliwalas tingnan yung ganitong function. Now, another way para mag-graph natin tong function na to is by means of tables of values. So, ang gagawin natin, we will assign value for x, several value for x, at least 2 or more value for x. Then, we will arrange them in table. So, let's say the value of x is -4, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, 4, and we want to graph this function. Ang gagawin natin, isosolve natin yang isa-isa. So, in this case, na-solve na natin po yan isa-isa. Andyan na yung mga values ng function or yung pinaka-y natin. So, that is 3, 2, 3 halves, 1, 1 half, 0, and -1. Pwede tayo mag-testing kahit isa lang. Halimbawa, y is equivalent to -1 half x plus 1. Para naman dun sa gusto nang mag-practice nung f of x, pwede rin. So, you can also say f of x. Ganon. What will be the value of the function if the value of x is, let's say, -4. So, para dun sa mga gusto nang mag-practice ng ganitong notation, yung ginagawa ni Euler, ay mas maganda po. That is the same as 1 half times -4 plus 1. Now, negative times negative is positive, di po ba? And 1 half times 4 is the same as 4 over 2 plus 1. Ang gagawin na lang natin, 4 divided by 2 is 2 plus 1, that is 3. So, if the value of x for this function is -4, the value of y will be 3, or the value of the function will be 3 whenever x is -4. Ganon. So, ito po yan, or let us try 0, kunyari. Halimbawa, ang hinahanap natin yung kanyang y-intercept. Napakadali ng y-intercept kasi pag mag-y-intercept ka, ang gagawin mo lang is 0 mo lang si x. Siyempre, 0 times anything, 0 naman lagi. Ang natitira, yung y-intercept o yung ordinate ng y-intercept natin, which is 1. So, immediately, we could tell the coordinate. So, let's say, the value of x for this function is 0. So, automatic, alam na agad natin yung result. Kahit hindi natin tingnan yung kahit takpan natin yung table of values, tingnan lang natin yung equation, maglalagay ka dito ng 0, i-multiply mo sa 1 half, 0 pa rin. So, matitira, 1. Kaya, f of 0 is equivalent to 1. Ito yung pinaka-x natin, ito yung pinaka-y natin. Ito yung pinaka-x natin, ito yung pinaka-y natin. Parang ganun po. Okay? So, using this table of values, kanina kasi ang ginawa natin, we are solving the function isa-isa, or at least makasolve tayo dalawang value for x for that function. Ito naman ang ginawa natin, meron tayong table of values, tapos meron tayong set of values for x, and then inisa-isa nating isolve yan by the value of for that value of x. Now, kung nandiyan kayo ngayon sa inyong mga tahanan, meron kayong opportunity to solve for this. I want you to solve for this function. Try nyo lang po kung makukuha nyo po yung f of x o yung magiging value ni y. Yan. Anyway, nandiyan na naman yung sagot. So, whenever na magkamali kayo, try nyo lang ulit hanggang sa makuha nyo yung tamang sagot. Now, if you have this kind of table of values, we're going to graph and we are going to use those coordinates. If x is -4, f of x is 3. Ito po yun. If the value of x is -2, f of x is 2. If the value of x is negative 1, take note, we have 3 halves. And 3 halves, yung 3 halves, pag mixed fraction siya, that is also equivalent to 1 and 1 half. Isa't kalahati. Para dun sa mga nagtatanong sa ating mga palangga na mga grade 8 students, kung nakalimutan nyo kung paano mag-mix number ng improper fraction, all we have to do is to divide, diba? 3 divided by 2 is 1. 1 times 2 is 2. 3 minus 2 is 1. So, meron kang whole number na 1 at meron kang 1 over 2. So, that is 1 and 1 over 2 or 1 and 1 half. So, kung ito yung 1, magdadagdag ka pa ng kalahati o nandito yung banda. Di po ba? So, 1 and 1 half. The value of x is negative 1 here. The value of y is 1 and 1 half, kalahati. So, bali yung maging intersection na lang nandyan. Now, if the value of x, ito sinolve na natin kanina, is 0, the value for the function will be 1. Or f of x is 1. Or, sa madaling salita, the value of y is 1. If the value of x is 1, the value for the function, or f of x, will be 1 half. If the value of x is 2, the value for the function if we're going to solve the function, that will be 0. Now, try nga natin tong na-curious lang ako dun sa value nito. Try nga natin i-solve. So, if the function, if the value of x for this function is 2, that is also the same as negative 1 half times 2 plus 1, that is the same as, or that is equivalent to, negative times positive is negative 1 half times 2 is 2 over 2 plus 1. You have 2 divided by 2 is negative 1 plus 1, that is negative 1 plus 1 is 0 nga. Totoo nga, 0 nga, tama. So, meaning, if the value of x is 2, the value of y is 0. Or, sa madaling salita, siya naman yung tinatawag natin, etong coordinate na to, this coordinate here, whenever the value of x is 2, the value of x is 2, y becomes 0. Etong 2, 0 na yan, is actually, yan yung tinatawag nating x-intercept. Yan. Kung meron tayong y-intercept, ito po, this is our y-intercept, and the coordinate of our y-intercept is 0, 1. Meron tayong tinatawag na x-intercept. This is y-intercept. Yan. Kung meron tayong y-intercept, meron din tayong x-intercept. Ano ibig sabihin ng x-intercept? Yung x-intercept po, that is the point where the line passes through the x-axis. Kabaliktaran naman ng y-intercept. Pag y-intercept, it is the point or the coordinate where the line passes through the y-axis. Pag x-intercept, it is the point where the line passes through the x-axis. Now, para dun sa mga sa mga palangga natin ng mga estudyante, may mas madaling paraan para hindi natin makalimutan yung concept. Pag y-intercept, 0 si x. Pag x-intercept, 0 si y. Yun lang yung tatandaan nyo. Okay po? So again, para hindi nyo makalimutan yung concept ni y at saka ni x-intercept, pag y-intercept, 0 si x. Kabaliktaran, Pag x-intercept, 0 si y. Let us have the last one. Let us have the last coordinate. Whenever we have 4, the value of the function or f of x is negative 1. Now, pwede na nating i-connect yung ating mga points. You now have the graph that pertains to y is equivalent to negative 1 half x plus 1, or this is also the same as f of x is equivalent to negative 1 half x plus 1. Pareho lang yan. Now, I'm going to leave an exercise for you. Will serve as your home quiz. I want you to graph. So, gagamit kayo ng graphing paper, no? As much as possible. You can also make use of your GeoGebra. Pero yung GeoGebra natin, yung magiging graph natin sa GeoGebra, it will only serve as a guide. Pinaka-guide lang po natin yan. Para dun natin immediately nakikita natin kung nagkakamali ba tayo sa graphing. Ang gagawin nyo lang is etong equation na to or etong function na to, all you have to do is to put it into GeoGebra. Lalabas yung graph niya. Pero kailangan nyo pa rin mag-submit ng mano-mano. So, ang gagawin na po natin, you're going to show the solution. Ano po? You're going to solution for this function. At saka you have here, for these values, for the set of values for x. So, the following values for x are negative 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. I want you to solve for the value of y or for the value of the function. Pwede kayong gumamit ng y, pwede rin kayong gumamit ng f of x. So, kanina, pinakita ko sa inyo kung paano mag-graph using at least 2 points. Ano po? So, wherein nakita nyo naman, sinosolve din natin yung equation by assuming several values of x. The same with the tabular method. Ganoon din naman whatever the value of x in the tabulated data, isi-solve pa rin natin using the equation for us to graph. And in that method, we need at least 2 points for enable us to graph linear equations. This time, ang gagawin naman po natin, we are going to graph linear equation using critical points. And one of those critical points is the x and y intercept. Now, let us try to graph y is equivalent to 2x plus 2. Kung hindi ako nagkakamali, pahapi ako lang na-introduce sa inyo kanina or from our previous videos, yung mga critical points, ano po. Katulad ng x-intercept tsaka y-intercept. Now, ang lagi nyo lang pong tatandaan pag you're going to graph using those intercept. Pag x-intercept, 0 si y. Kabaliktaran, ano? Pag y-intercept naman, syempre, 0 si x. So, let us try to solve using this method. And, take note ha, ang kailangan lang natin, x and y intercept, pag may 2 point ka na, makakagraph ka na kasi all you have to do now is to connect those 2 points. You need at least 2 points, the x and y intercept for this case, ano? So, let's say we want to solve y is equivalent to 2x plus 2. And we will assume, for x-intercept, we will assume that y is 0. Kabaliktaran, ano po? Para maalala natin yung method. So, 0 is equivalent to 2x plus 2. Alam niyo, sa totoo lang, pareho lang naman yung kalalabasan kung alin man sa dalawa yung i-transpose natin. Either mag-transpose tayo ng 2x or mag-transpose tayo ng 2. Pareho lang naman po. So, for this method, try nating i-transpose si 2x. But anyway, you can make use of 2. Pwede nyo i-transpose si 2. Kaya ko lang siya, kaya ko lang gustong i-transpose si 2x kasi para yung x nandun na agad sa left side of the equation. So, if we want to transpose 2x to the other side of the equation, that will be negative 2x is equivalent to 2. And then divide both sides by negative 2. Let us divide that both sides by negative 2. The value of x here will be 2 divided by negative 2 is negative 1. So we have negative 2 divided by negative 2, that is 1, or just cancel out. What is left here on the left side of the equation is x. Sa kabila naman, 2 divided by negative 2 is negative 1. Now, how about for the y-intercept? So pag y-intercept, 0 naman si x. So y is equivalent to 2x plus 2, 0 si x, so y is equivalent to 2 times 0 plus 2. Ito ata siguro yung pinakamadaling i-solve kasi once na ma-0 mo dyan si x, if you replace a 0 value for x, pati yung slope nagiging 0 because you are going to multiply 2 times 0. Ang naiiwan talaga itong ordinate ng y-intercept. Wherein sa slope-intercept form ng linear equation, yung number na nandito, yung letter C or yung constant, siya yung ordinate ng y-intercept. Kaya madali lang siyang ito siguro yung pinakamadali. Kasi kahit i-cancel mo na lang yan, tapos ito na lang yung tingnan natin, alam na agad natin kung ano yung kanyang y-intercept. Anyway, let us continue solving. So, y is equivalent to 2 times 0 plus 2. 2 times 0 is 0. So, what is left is 2. Y is equivalent to 2. So, therefore, if x is 0, y is 2. And this is this is the ordered pair or the coordinate for our y-intercept. While, ang coordinate naman natin for the x-intercept, whenever y is 0, x is negative 1. So, that is negative 1 and 0. Ano po? Ayan. So, ika ko pa nga, pag x-intercept, 0 si y. Pag y-intercept, 0 si x. Ganun po. Now, let us now plot those points and then connect them. So, you have the x-intercept, which is negative 1, 0. So, this is negative 1, 0. And we have, for the y-intercept, we have 0, 2. So, this is 0, 2. And then, all we have to do now is to connect those points. There you go. You have your linear equation, or you have now your graph. For that linear equation, y is equivalent to 2x plus 2. So let us have few more examples. Let's say we want to graph the function y is equivalent to 2x plus 1. First, we are going to let y is equivalent to 0. And whenever we let y is equivalent to 0, ang hinahanap natin dyan yung x-intercept niya. Ano po? Now, we could also let x is equivalent to 0. So again, whenever we let x is equivalent to 0, ang hinahanap naman natin dyan yung y-intercept naman. Okay. So let us try to solve, ano? If y is 0, therefore this equation here becomes 0 is equivalent to 2x plus 1. Now, solving further, like we can transpose 2x to the other side, that becomes negative 2x is equivalent to 1. And then dividing both sides by negative 2, for as long as the number that we are dividing both sides is not 0, that is allowed in math, we'll just cancel this out, because negative 2 divided by negative 2 is just 1. No need to write 1. So what is left here is x. And you now have this kind of fraction. What is this? Positive divided by negative is negative. So lalagay natin siya sa gitna. And you have there 1/2. So therefore, the value of x is equivalent to negative 1/2. Now, what will be the coordinate? The coordinate of the x-intercept. So the coordinate of the x-intercept would be negative 1/2 and 0. 0 si y eh. Ito po. 0 si y. Yun lang mahirap. In every method, may mga drawbacks din yan. So, for this method, kung mag-graph tayo ng linear equations, tapos ang gamit natin, x and y intercepts. Yung method na ganito, it has its own, it has its own pros and it has its own cons. So, ang problema dito, whenever we encounter decimals or fractions for x and y intercept, so, kailangan talaga, tatansyahin talaga natin. Lalo na kung yung mga fractions, we're dealing with fractions na masyadong tawag nito, masyadong mahirap i-locate or masyadong mahirap tansyahin. Pero syempre, depende pa rin yan kung ano yung scale na ginagamit natin sa graph. Sa tingin ko, ito, mas madali ito kasi 1/2 lang naman, kalakalahati, diba? So, ang kalahati, ito, 1 and 1/2, ito, yung mga ganun. So, mas madali naman siya. Now, let us do the y-intercept. For y is equivalent to 2x plus 1. Immediately, kahit i-cancel na lang natin to, di ba? Ang titingnan na lang natin ito kasi y-intercept naman. So, the coordinate for y-intercept is 0 and 1, positive 1. Kung duda tayo, solve natin. So, let x is equivalent to 0, that is y is equivalent to 2 times 0 plus 1. 2 times 0 is 0, so you have there 1. Y is equivalent to 1. Y is equivalent to 1. So, pag x-intercept, 0 si y. Ito. Pag y-intercept, 0 si x. And now, we can now plot those points. Now, we are looking for negative 1/2. So, that negative 1/2 from 0 for the x-intercept, titingin tayo sa x-axis kung x-intercept yung hinahanap natin. Pagka naman y-intercept yung hinahanap natin, titingin tayo sa y-axis. So, sa x-axis, ang hahanapin natin yung negative 1/2. So, nandito yung banda, no? Check natin kung tama. Yan. So, nandyan yung banda. This is, the coordinate for this point is negative 1/2, 0. Yan po yun. Ito po. Paano yung Paano yung 0, 1? So, napakadali, 0, 1. This is 0, 1. Ganun po. And then, all we have to do now is to connect those points. So, we now have the graph for y is equivalent to 2x plus 1. Now, it doesn't mean na hindi na tayo gagamit ng ibang points to make our graph more accurate. Pwede naman, pwede kayo magdagdag ng points. All you have to do now is to assume a value for x. It's either you will assume a value for x, or we could employ, or we could make use of the slope, which is ipapakita ko sa inyo po mamaya pag nasa pangatlong method na po tayo. Let us try one more example. Let's say we want to graph the function y is equivalent to 1/2 x plus 1. We're going to let y is equivalent to 0 for the x-intercept, and we're going to let x is equivalent to 0 for the y-intercept. For the x-intercept, where y is equivalent to 0, that is the same as 0 is equivalent to negative 1/2 x plus 1. Now, in this case, we can transpose negative 1/2 x to the other side of the equation, to the left side. Ang maganda niyan kasi negative na negative si 1/2 x. Pag transpose mo siya sa kabila, transpose natin siya sa kabila, magiging positive siya. So, mas maganda kaysa naman si positive 1 pa i-transpose natin, magiging negative lang yan. So, dalawang negative, magta-times pa tayo ng negative. So, it makes our solution lengthy. Kaya para maiwasan natin yun, ito na mismong negative yung i-transpose natin. Kung halimbawa, nagkataon na negative si, negative din si 1 or minus 1 dito. Di mas maganda siguro si negative 1 i-transpose para mag-positive siya. Ganun po. Na ano lang yan ang mathematical manipulations, nasa diskarte lang din yan ng nagsusolve. Ang importante, alam natin, kabisado natin, by heart, yung what is this? Properties, inequalities. All of those properties in algebra. So in this manner, why not we transpose negative 1/2 x to the other side? It becomes positive. So 1/2 x is equivalent to 1. Now, ang gagawin natin dito, mag cross multiply tayo. O, di ba may bago tayo, cross multiplication. Ayusin lang natin tong term na to. Ayusin natin yung term na yan. 1/2 times x is the same as x over 2. O, paano nangyari yun? Kasi si 1/2 times si x, si x may denominator na 1 So, sa fraction, numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator. So, 1 times x is x, ayan po. Tapos 2 times 1 is 2, ayan. Ganun lang po yun. Okay, so x over 2. Now, we are ready to cross multiply. Ang gagawin natin, pag nagko-cross multiply tayo, yung nasa denominators, ilalagay natin sa kabila. And we will express them as products. Now, what will be the property behind this cross multiplication? Kung matatandaan niyo po from grade 7, that is simply multiplying both sides by 2. So, what I'm trying to say is, whenever you multiply here 2, you should multiply here also 2 para manatili siyang equal. Now, you have here 2 over 2. So, makakancel na lang yan. Ang maiiwan na lang dyan is x. Lipat na lang natin dito. So, x. And then, 1 times 2 is 2. Now, the idea here is pwede ka rin mag-cross multiply. Paano mag-cross multiply? Kung cross multiplication naman yung gagamitin natin, yung pinaka-technique na ginagamit ng karamihan, yan, burahin ko lang to, x over 2, yung nandito sa baba, ilalagay natin doon. Kung over 1 to, etong over 1, ilalagay natin din sa kabila. So, parang nag-interchange lang sila, parang ganun. So, ang magiging katabi ni 1, si 2 na. Ang magiging katabi ni 1, si 2. At magiging katabi ni x, si 1. Ganun pag nagko-cross multiply tayo. Yan, so, ayan. Ganyan. So, ibig sabihin, si 2, magiging katabi ni 1, si 1 naman, magiging katabi ni x. So, ang nangyaring ganyan. 1 times x is just x. And 2 times 1 is 2. Pareho lang din. And that technique, cross multiplication, this is just a review, it follows the multiplication property of equality nung kayo ay grade 7. Anyway, so the value of x here is 2. What will be the coordinate of our x-intercept? The coordinate for our x-intercept will be 2, 0. Ayan po. Now, let us try to solve for the y-intercept. You have y is equivalent to negative 1/2 x plus 1. Tapos, isi-zero na lang natin, si x. Pag zinero natin si x times negative 1/2, 0 pa rin. Ang matitira na lang, ito na lang, 1. So, immediately, alam na agad natin kung ano yung ating y-intercept. That will be 0, 1. Now, if we want to solve, that is the same as y is equivalent to negative 1/2 times 0 because the value of x is 0 plus 1. And negative 1/2 times 0 is 0. Ang naiwan na lang sa atin, 1 na lang. So, there you go. You have your y-intercept, 0, 1. Now, let us now try to plot those points and connect those points. So, this is 2, 0. The coordinate for this is 2, 0. Ito yung ating x-intercept. Ito po. Ito po yun. Tapos, ang y-intercept naman natin, ito po. 0, 1. Ito po yun. And then, let us connect the points. Now, paalala ko lang po, check nyo rin yung, yung slope niya. In our previous videos, pag positive yung slope, yung line is increasing or upward. Pagka negative yung slope, yung line is downward or decreasing. So, alam naman natin na negative siya yung slope. Ito kasi yung slope natin, di po ba? Yan yung slope natin, negative 1/2. Kung negative siya, expected na dapat yung line natin pababa. Kaya magugulat ka kung halimbawa, ang naging graph mo pataas samantalang negative yung slope. So, double check po natin. So, tama nga, no? Kasi negative nga yung slope. So, pababa siya. Now, I'm going to leave a home quiz for you. I want you to graph this linear equation. I want you to graph y is equivalent to negative 3x minus 2. Now, the last method that we are going to employ in graphing linear functions is we're going to graph linear equations using the slope and the y-intercept. Now, let us try to graph y is equivalent to 2x plus 1 using those critical points or critical parts, the slope and the y-intercept. Let us first investigate the slope. Ang slope niya is 2. Siyempre, yung 2, meron niyang denominator, invincible denominator na 1. Hindi na lang sinusulat. But it is also the same as 2 over 1. Anyway, 2 divided by 1 is just 2, right? So, lahat siguro ata ng real numbers may over 1. Ano po? So, in this case, the slope 2 means, or that is also equivalent to 2 over 1. And since puro positive si 2, positive si 1, immediately we could tell na ang na yung rise niya or yung up niya, how many ups are there? There are 2. At kung how many run meron siya or kung how many right meron siya, kasi positive nga, di ba? Buti sana kung negative si 2. Kung negative si 2, kung how many down. Kung negative naman si 1, kung how many left. Ganun po. Since positive si 2, positive si 1, so yung rise or yung up is dalawa or 2 units, tapos yung right is 1 or 1 unit. Now, let us try to denote the y-intercept. The y-intercept for the slope-intercept form of the line, which is y is equivalent to mx plus b, etong b. The value of b here tells us the ordinate of the y-intercept. So, immediately, we could tell na yung ordinate ng y-intercept natin is 1. And the coordinate of, or the ordered pair for our y-intercept is 0, 1. Di po ba? So, yun lang kailangan natin. Y-intercept, na ang coordinate is 0, 1. Tapos, yung slope na na-convert sa 2 over 1. And then, from the slope itself, alam natin kung ilang up meron siya at kung ilang right meron siya. Now we are ready to graph. At mas maganda, mas maigi na mag-start tayo dun sa y-intercept. But take note, not all times nagwo-work itong method na to. Bakit? Kasi halimbawa, kung yung y-intercept natin is decimal din, ano po? Nagkakataon kasi minsan na yung y-intercept natin decimal. So, ang gagawin natin, kung fraction man siya or decimal, tatansyahin natin from the graph. Anyway, huwag kayong mag-alala kasi yung graph naman, that is not 100% accurate. Graphing is one of those so-called rude instrument in mathematics, just like rulers, protractors, compasses. Okay. Now, meron na tayong y-intercept, meron na tayong slope. We will start at the y-intercept and then we will make use of the slope to know the other points. So, if our y-intercept is at 0, 1, at alam natin kung ilang up meron tayo at kung ilang right meron tayo, bibilangin na lang natin. So, ilang up meron tayo or ilang rise meron tayo? Dalawa, no? So, we will count 1, 2. Now, ilang right meron tayo? 1. So, magbibilang tayo to the right, 1. And by that, by using that slope, we could determine the second point. Yan. Malalaman natin yung pangalawang point niya. O gusto pa nating ituloy, kunyari, tutuloy pa natin. So, from this point here, at, I think this is 1, 3, From 1, 3, from coordinate 1, 3, we will locate another point. Using the slope pa rin. 2 up, 1 right. So, 1, 2 up, tapos, 1 right. Then, we could immediately tell the third point. And all we have to do now is to connect those points. Pwede pa nating pababa naman, pabaliktad naman. Pero medyo konting ingat lang tayo kasi ang slope natin is 2. That is also the same as 2 over 1. Meaning, 2 ups at saka 1 down, 1 right. Ang gagawin lang natin pag pa-reverse yung ating pag i-reverse natin yung method, pwede rin yang babaliktarin natin si up. Ano ba yung kabaliktaran na up? Di ba down? Ano ba yung kabaliktaran ni right? Di ba left? Sa ganun, dapat sabay natin silang i-reverse or sabay natin silang babaliktarin para accurate pa rin yung paggamit natin ng slope. So sa makatwid, that is also the same as this this notion here is also the same as 2 down over 1 left. O, subukan natin. Saan tayo mag-start? O, by the way, anuhin muna natin. I-check muna natin, double, triple check natin kung mag-work ba to from all these points na nandito sa screen natin or sa graph natin. Take note, the coordinate of this is 2, 5. Okay. So, from 2, 5, let us try. 2 down, 1 left. So, 1, 2 down, and 1 left. 1 left. So, mapupunta tayo, babalik tayo dun sa 1, 3. Pagka ganun, sigurado tayo na tama yung interpretation natin or tama yung pagbaliktad natin ng method. We can now use that method para malaman natin yung mga points below. So again, 2 down, 1 left. 1, 2 down, and then 1 left. So dito yun. So parang siya, kung mapapansin nyo, may pattern talaga siya kasi line naman yan. May pattern siya. Kahit nga hindi na natin tingnan Yung kasunod, alam natin, nandito yan, Because that is 2 down and then 1 left. May pattern po siya. At pag nakita natin yung pattern, madali na nating maigagraph yung linear equation. All we have to do now is to connect those points. Ayan. Let us try to have some more examples. Let us graph the function y is equivalent to negative 1 half x plus 1. Again, let us try to investigate its slope. The slope is negative 1 half. Pwede natin siyang gawing negative 1 over 2. Bakit? Kasi negative ito, negative divided by positive, kasi positive si 2, babalik siya dun sa original niyang sign, which is negative 1/2. Ano po? Kaya okay lang na si negative mapunta sa taas, or that is also the same as, pareho lang din yan ng 1, but this time, negative 2 naman sa denominator. Anyway, positive divided by negative is negative pa rin naman. Babalik siya sa negative 1/2. Okay, so pareho lang sila. Mamaya ipapakita ko to. Mamaya na to. Ito na lang muna. Negative si numerator, positive si denominator. Ang ibig sabihin niyan is, pag negative, down. Pero since positive si denominator, ang ibig sabihin niyan, right. Sa madaling salita, 1 down, 2 right. Yun po yung ibig sabihin ng slope natin. Yung y-intercept naman natin, immediately we could tell by just assuming that x is 0 here times negative 1/2. So we'll just ignore this and we will focus here, the value of b. The value of b for y is equivalent to mx plus b. Yan. The value of b, that is the ordinate of the y-intercept. So it tells us that our y-intercept is at 0, 1. Pag y-intercept, laging 0 sa x. Di ba po? Di po ba? Ano? Now we are ready to graph. We will start at 0, 1. Ayan. This is 0, 1. Our y-intercept. Gagawin natin, magbibilang tayo. Paano tayo magbibilang? Negative 1 over 2. It means 1 down, 2 right. So 1 down, papunta doon, tapos 2 right. Dalawang ganon. Ano po? So let's now try to count. 1 down, 2 right. Kamali pa ata ko, sorry po right pala. So 1 down, 2 right. Ganun po. And then we could locate the next point. Now, just repeating the process, 1 down, 2 right. 1 down, then 2 right. Then you have the second or the third point. Now, pwede ba natin baliktarin yung process? Pwede po. So, if you have the slope, which is negative 1/2, that is the same as negative 1 over 2. And take note, that is also the same as 1 over negative 2. Kung itong nasa taas is 1 down and 2 right, ito naman yung kanyang reverse form is 1 up over 2 left, 2 left. Bakit 1 up? Kasi positive si 1 dito eh. At bakit naman 2 left? Bakit left? Kasi negative si 2. Ayan. So, eto ngayon yung reverse neto. At pwede rin natin tong gamitin in knowing other points. So, let us try. Check natin kung tama siya. From here, no? From here. 1 up, 1 up, and then 2 left. 1, 2. So, we will arrive at the point. Another point on the line. So, since na-check na natin na tama itong 1 up, 2 left, we can start now again at 0, 1. So, 1 up, pag ganon, and then 2 left. 1, 2. Oh, so, that's another point. At kung mapapansin nyo, parang may rhythm na siya, di ba? So, kung may rhythm na siya, all we have to do now is to copy those rhythm or imitate those rhythm. So, ang magiging next next point niyan, somewhere here. Sama nagiging, di ba? Sunod-sunod na po yan. Once na meron ka ng pattern. The last thing that you are going to do is to connect those points. So, there you go. You now have y is equivalent to negative 1/2 x plus 1. The line for the graph for that linear equation. I'm going to leave another home quiz for you. Please pag may mga graphing may mga graphing exercises po tayo, please gumamit po tayo ng graphing paper. Mura lang naman yun. Bili po tayo lagi ng graphing paper. Sir, bakit tayo magmamano-mano? Meron namang GeoGebra. Hindi, lahat siguro ng estudyante natin dadaan talaga sa mano-mano. Ang kagandahan na nagmano-mano tayo lagi, alam talaga natin kung paano mag-graph. Kasi nandun lahat ng basics ng graphing. Pagka sanay na tayo sa mano-mano, that's the only time na mas magiging magaling tayo sa paggamit ng mga high-tech na mga applications, na mga graphing applications. For the meantime na pinag-aaralan pa natin yung basic, kailangan magmano-mano muna tayo. And I hope you could bear with me with that, with that kind of approach. Anyway, I want you to graph on a graphing sheet of paper y is equivalent to negative 3x plus 2.